Alright, here I have the Darksyde Rage, black and like an orange. These are a little more stretchy than, say, the Violators. Still somewhat stiff, but not quite as stiff as some of the wraps I have. We have the logo here sewn in, and of course this sewn in the top. These seem to hold up pretty well with I've used these somewhat. They don't tend to snag too much like some other knee wraps. So longevity of them, they work pretty well. You can see it's kind of crinkling here from where it's wrapped though. These are a little more stretchier than some. The elastic I think is pretty strong here. I'll measure the thickness of them. So these are reading about 0.136 inches. So 136 thousandths thick on here. The material I'd say is not real harsh, but not like soft either. Kind of almost mildly harsh, like real mild. They still can leave marks on you, depending upon the tightness of them and if your skin's not used to it. Okay, for the stretch here test I'm going to do, I'm going to double it over like this and measure out 25 inches on here as the jaw and put them in my vise. The vise is an inch thick. So I come here, set it doubled over, measure out 25 inches. And set this over in here. Put it in the jaw and tighten it down in my vise. And tight enough to hold, and hopefully not too tight to ruin these. I still like these. I like to use these knee wraps. Probably a lot for reps or whatever, as they're a little easier than my Violators. Okay, now what I'll do is take my vise here and hang it up on some screws I have up in the rafters for this. My tape measure out should be like a 24 inches. From where it's hanging. Now just tuck this tail out of the way, get it out of the way. And verify it's 24 inches. And I have this weight here, which I've weighed, and it weighs 35.1 pounds. Now I'll set it up in here. Centering it in the knurling. Try to balance it out. All right. And then I'll measure again. My jaw's here. This comes out to 28.5 inches. Maybe 28 and actually closer to 28 and 3/8 of an inch. So that's 4 3/8 inch stretch. With the 35 pounds. Now, subjectively or whatever for these knee wraps on how they perform for me, I really like these as well. They're a little more stretchier and easier than say the Darksyde violators. So if I'm planning on doing some rep work, say like in the reps 5 or 4 and want to wrap up, this is a good wrap for me to use. I think I get around 80 pounds out of these here, based on how they feel and compared to what I get out of my violators. It's a little easier to wrap for me. You can stretch them easier. They conform more to the knee or whatever. So they're easier to wrap than a stiffer or less stretchy wrap, I should say. You can see by the stiffness of these or whatever, they're still somewhat stiff, still somewhat thick, measuring out the thickness of it, but it still allows a stretch. Their elastic on here is fairly strong, I think. One of the first things I noticed when I put them on, it just like gave me a good rebound boost. I just like felt it more than I felt some other knee wraps that I've used to get these, because I was at the time using the crates or whatever as my main go-to, and I was kind of debating whether to switch up to these or stick with the crates or whatever. I kind of noticed the rebound more of this, but the crates gave me a little more stability, so I was kind of unsure of which wrap to go to. They both apparently, I thought it gave me about 80 pounds, so I wasn't quite sure if I was going to this. I ended up going, once the violators came out, I was like, yeah, that's the wrap for me for when I want to get heavy weight. But I really still like these, and the fact that they're a little easier to wrap, get lots of rebound or whatever. I can get 80 pounds out of these wraps. So that's pretty much my review of these things. So thanks for watching, everyone.